Dusty Crop Hopper, the error is...
Crop Hopper!
You're smaller than I thought, but that's okay.
Thanks.
All aboard!
You came here to become a firefighter.
Spilling mud on people makes for sad campers. Big party at my lodge makes for happy campers. You understand?
Answer is yes.
Yes?
What? Huh?
One of the really cool things moving into this is in the first Planes, there was sort of the message of follow your dreams, which Dusty Crop Hopper did. Now we see, there are times where your dreams fade or go away, and you can have new dreams. Can you talk about that idea?
Yeah, that was certainly one of the most exciting portions of stepping into this project, which was the evolution of character and where is Dusty going to go now? The naivete is gone. He found his confidence. He found his true voice. So now that we've dealt with that story, and it was such an inward journey for Dusty. I love that the writers came to me and said, this is about how can Dusty give back. This is about how can Dusty not only pay tribute the way we are in this film to the brave men and women that fight these fires, but how can he give back to his community? And I think that's a tremendous message for kids and families.
Absolutely. There's also the sense that even though we're watching talking cars and planes, we're still learning about how these things work in the real world.
Well, that's very important. I mean, our director and writers, they want real information in there. So anywhere you can glean some actual facts and be educated. Halfway during the movie, I'd be reading the script. I'd say, okay, so wait a second. So what exactly? They knew the entire history of whatever the plane was, what their true participation was, maybe with fighting fires or being a seat plane or whatever. It's the level of backstory that they come for each and every character. The pieces, the parts, the gearbox, all of it really lends itself to kind of real world situations. That's part of the magic behind the scenes here.
This was already on the way before the other one even hit theaters.
Yes.
How does that affect your job?
Well, at Disney Toon Studios, we sort of work as a team. So as Clay Hall was working and directing on the first film, I was starting on this one. So we worked together. I was peripherally involved with the first film, and then I could sort of bring him in if I had questions about my story. I also got to work, with many of the people from his crew, got to roll onto my crew, some of the people who did the flight, the story team, things like that. So it actually helps inform my movie so we can sort of elevate the story.
It seems like an interesting sort of moral for this one because the first one's all about following your dreams, whereas this one's, sometimes your dreams run out or fade and you can still find a new dream.
Right.
Can you tell me about learning the theme, finding how to tell that in the story?
Well, the theme of second chances came about in a lot of different ways. We do a lot of research on our movies, and we sort of go out and try to find the story and bring it back and sort of nurture it. So the air attack bases we visited are all made up mostly of secondhand structures. The aircraft that are used in wildfire air attack tend to be former military aircraft or former civilian aircraft. They're all kind of on their second leg. And so when we were looking at Dusty, what Dusty had done in the first film is push his engine so hard to race, it would be natural that he would actually potentially have damaged it. So we looked at this idea of sort of, if he's lost his passion, can he find another passion worth living for? And as when we kind of honed in on that, coming from the first story, kind of informing that, and then we found that the elements in the world he was going to go into, which was wildfire air attack, have those elements in it. It all kind of came together.
To what end do you sort of get to show kids the process as it happens? Because of course, fire and rescue vehicles are really cool for kids.
Yes.
Yeah, we always we usually do some test screenings down the road in the story before we get finished, just to start getting some feedback, because we want to see what the general audience. Because it's really easy for you and working with your peers to kind of get lost in the story because you live it every day. So it's always good to get some outside, you test your barometer a little bit from others. So we do that once or twice, but for the most part, we leave that in the hands of the filmmakers. As Bob was saying, DTS is a filmmaker-driven studio, so we pretty much kind of work with our peers, but that usually goes kind of broad and wide, so we have a lot of good input.
So we're standing right now in front of Yosemite. This is the El Capitan?
El Capitan, yep.
Can you tell me a little, I know this was one of the primary influences for Piston Peak in the film.
Yeah, Yosemite Valley is the primary inspiration for Piston Peak National Park. And when Art Hernandez and I came here 3 years ago, we planned out, like, okay, how are we going to create this world and tell this story in this setting? And so we did our version of El Capitan, which is La Parrilla, which is Spanish for the grill. So what you do is you take the real inspiration and you take something to planesify it. So you take a vehicle shape like a 1920s Jaguar grill, and when you smash the two together, you get La Parrilla. That's why we call it the grill. So it looks like a Jaguar grill.
What has changed for you since the originals come out and kids now sort of know you as the voice of Dusty Crop Hopper?
I'm just doing, I'm doing what I always do. I'm doing, a lot of stand-up comedy still. I just wrapped on another film that we shot out here in California. So staying as busy as ever, working on new stand-up, and just excited to finally sit in the theater with a group of people who've never seen the movie and go on that ride,
As a comedian, admittedly a very different comedian, but do you ever want to try your hand at the Cars and Planes jokes, the puns?
Yeah, because I'm not a joke teller, and I've always had such an affinity for actual joke tellers. I'm kind of more of a story comedian. So yeah, no, I don't know where I would build upon that, but this movie has we call it like LPMs, laughs per minute, and so many of those great puns and clever wordplay is kind of hidden and strewn about. So I get to play up on it here where maybe I don't get to do it in my own stand-up.
How many car puns get left on the cutting room floor?
Oh gosh.
You have to keep that in check to a certain extent. You want your humor to come from character, but you can't resist a few things, right? I think the favorite one, there's a couple favorites. I think the favorite pun in the film is the name of the lodge, which is the Fuselage. That was irresistible, right? And then we have a nice scene in Honkers, which is the sports bar, where we have a pickup truck giving a pickup line. So that seemed like a no-brainer. So but yes, many get left behind. But we only keep the creme de la creme of the puns.
Now, this is obviously one of the centerpieces of the park. It's a very famous mountain. What's a small detail that you picked up on your visit that may not be readily apparent to viewers?
Okay, well, we also pulled from the flora of the Pacific Northwest, just based off of here. So we have ponderosa pines, and if you look really closely at the bark on our pine trees, we took the ponderosa bark and we took tire tread on an actual tire, and when you mash the two together, you get our version. So if you look at our pine trees, you'll see skid marks running up and down the pine tree, and the bark looks like skid marks.
One of the other charms that has sort of continued over from the Cars movies is the use of pop music.
Right.
How much fun is it to pick the songs that go into this?
Oh, yeah.
How hard is it to get
It's
clearances?
hard. Yeah, music is pivotal to any filmmaking, right? And so we usually will have a lot of songwriters working on. We'll pitch an idea of what we want the song to be about for certain scenes, and we'll get an influx of a bunch of songs coming in. But it's pretty. Usually the one that's the right will hit you over the head. Like Still I Fly was one example when Dusty's pivotal moment, he leaves his hometown to go train as a firefighter, and we needed something very specific, and the songwriters were very fortunate to just really hit it on the head, and it's such a brilliant song, and it was really easy for us. So
It was cool to have Still I Fly as a new performer. Then we had Brad Paisley, whose father was a firefighter, so wanted to write a song for the film, and then, of course, there's the music like Thunderstruck from AC/DC, which is something that we dropped into the movie the very first screening because we wanted an anthem for the firefighters to sort of lock and load to, and so that landed very quickly. So it's fun going in and placing that music, but you sort of let the story tell you, or the characters tell you, what the right choice is.
I can do this. Lord Almighty, my temperature rising. Let's load and go.
We're headed straight into the fire.
Brace yourselves.
How's the park's wildlife population? Well, if you come to the party night, there'll be plenty of party animals.
Hey, huh?
Shut the hangar door.
Awesome. It's like Mama's jalapeno chili. Spicy.
Twice.